Hi, I'm Lynn White. I'm the Education and Volunteer Specialist for Butler Soil and Water Conservation District. And today we're going to talk about a special Ohio animal who has certain behaviors that help him to get the materials necessary to survive. Now, when you were in first grade, you learned about the basic needs of animals. We learned that animals had to have food for energy. They needed to have water. They needed to have air. They needed to have shelter to raise their young, and then they needed the space to live in. And that entire space where they're finding their food, water, air, and shelter is called their habitat. So the animal that we're going to be talking about today lives in an aquatic habitat. Aquatic habitats are habitats that are made up mainly of water. So I have a picture here of a small stream in the background, and our animal can be found in small streams. It can also be found in large streams and rivers. Can be found in wetlands and in ponds and lakes. So here's our animal, if you didn't notice it already. This is the animal we're going to focus on today. So it has this large flat tail at the back and sharp pointy teeth at the front. Does anyone know what the animal is we're going to talk about? It's a beaver. Now, the North American beaver is found throughout most of this country in Canada. And fortunately for us, it lives here in southwest Ohio. And they used to live all over Ohio. But unfortunately, over time, the number of beavers went down and it went down and it went down until in 1830, we had no beavers left in Ohio. And one of the reasons for that is due to a special adaptation the beaver has that unfortunately did not help it with survival. Beavers have an amazingly thick fur coat. And their fur coat helps to keep them warm when they're swimming about in the cold water they live in. They also have oil they can produce, and they use their claws to spread those oils through their fur to make their fur waterproof. So their thick, waterproof fur, unfortunately, meant that these animals were hunted until they were wiped out in Ohio. Now, they were not extinct. Extinct as if they've disappeared from everywhere. But they were wiped out in Ohio. So if they're missing from one particular place, we see that they are extirpated. So beavers were extirpated from Ohio. Fortunately now, they're making a comeback, and they're found throughout much of southwest Ohio and all along eastern Ohio. And so if you're lucky, you might spot one. But if we look closely at the beaver, this one's very small. They get much larger than this. In fact, they're the largest rodent in North America. Now, a rodent is a special group of mammals. Rodents, what makes them special are their front teeth. They have special front teeth that helps them with one of their behaviors. And it's a behavior that beavers are most known for. And that behavior is chopping down trees. So here is part of a tree that beavers were chopping down. Of course, they're not going to go to the store to get a saw to cut down the tree. They use their teeth to do it. So imagine you were chewing away on a tree. What's going to happen to your teeth? Well, you're either going to break your teeth or they're going to get worn away until you've got no teeth left. Well, a beaver, their teeth are a bit different. All rodents, so beavers, mice, rats, gerbils, hamsters, their front teeth are always growing. So if they're chewing away on the tree and they break a tooth, no worries, it's going to grow back. If they're chewing on the tree, their teeth are not going to get worn away until they have no teeth left, because their teeth will grow back. Now, you might be looking at these teeth and going, oh, those look gross. Well, they are a weird orange color on the outside, and your dentist would probably be upset with you if your teeth turned that color. But this color on the outside is because the beavers have got iron in their teeth. And iron rusts, so their teeth look that rusty orange color. But the iron makes their teeth super duper strong. On the inside, and hopefully you can see that, their teeth are white, kind of like our teeth are white. And this is softer material. So when they're chewing away on the tree, the hard material with the soft material behind it keeps their teeth in that sharp point. So it keeps them really pointy and sharp for chewing away on that wood. Now, they don't just chew down trees for fun. They do it because they'll eat some of the young softwood and they'll store wood in their home for eating over the winter time. They also chop down trees to build their home. And their home, their shelter, has got a special name. We call it a lodge. And this is a picture of a beaver lodge. So you can see it's made of lots of pieces of wood. There's also mud and rocks and other things in there as well. If you look at it, you might be wondering, how do they get inside? There's no front door. Well, there is a front door, we just can't see it. Remember, these animals live in an aquatic habitat, so they have to be able to swim. So to get in their front door, they have to swim underwater. So beavers can get in through doors on either side of their home. So this is a dam that was built by the beavers, and it's a mixture of wood, of mud, and of rocks. And this is a really important behavior for beavers because they build their dams across a stream or a river, and it stops that water from flowing. And so the river upstream will get higher and higher, and then it will burst its banks, and it will create a huge wet area. So in this case here, it created a large pond. Sometimes it's creating large wetlands. And those are important homes for a lot of different creatures, like fish and frogs and turtles and birds. So when the beavers come in and they build those dams, they're making important habitat for other animals. Most beavers will have babies every year, and the babies are allowed to live at home until they're about 2 years old. That means once the kits, the babies, are 1 year old, they have to start taking care of their younger brothers and sisters that have just been born. And so they help to teach their younger brothers and sisters how to be a beaver. So there's another behavior that beavers learn about very quickly in life, and it's something to do with their tail. Have you ever heard about a beaver smacking its tail in the water? Well, that is to warn family members that there's danger nearby. Now, if the baby beavers are out smacking their tail, they're less likely to get paid attention to. Usually, though, as soon as the father beaver slaps its tail in the water, the family know to quickly get back to the lodge for protection. So along with behavioral adaptations that beavers use to survive, they also have some physical adaptations that are important to point out as well. Now, we've already mentioned them having thick fur that they spread oil through to keep them warm and dry when they're swimming underwater. We've already mentioned their sharp, pointy teeth that are always growing. A great physical adaptation they have is to do with their eyes, and it allows them to see when they're swimming underwater. Now, have you ever opened your eyes when you're swimming in a lake or swimming in a pool? It can be hard to see. Stuff gets a bit blurry. Well, beavers, along with their regular eyelids like we have, they have a second set of eyelids, and they're see-through. And so when they're swimming underwater, they close those see-through eyelids, and it acts like us wearing a swim mask or goggles, and they can see perfectly. And it also helps to keep the sticks and anything else that's floating in the water out of their eyes. So it's protection for their eyes as well as allowing them to see perfectly underwater. We've mentioned them living in an aquatic environment and having those awesome tails that they can use to slap the water for danger. But they also use those big beaver tails kind of as a rudder. If you've ever seen one on a boat, when they're swimming, they can adjust their tail to help with the direction that they're swimming. When they're not swimming and they're on the river bank and they're chewing on the trees, they can use the tail to kind of prop them up so they don't fall over while they're chewing away. One of the fun ones are their feet. Now think about a duck. What do they have going on with their feet? Well, they've got those extra pieces of skin. They've got webbed feet. And so ducks, beavers, frogs, all sorts of animals that live in aquatic environments, they have naturally built-in flippers. And so when they're kicking their feet, that extra skin helps to catch that water to move them through the water faster. Have you ever been swimming and you've managed to get water in your ears and it's really annoying and you're trying to get it out? Well, if you were a beaver, that wouldn't be a problem. beavers have got special valves. It's part of their it's a physical adaptation. And those valves can close their ears and close their nose when they're swimming underwater, so they don't have any worries about getting water in there. It'd be kind of cool to have. So as you can see, beavers are really special animals. They have a lot of behavioral and physical adaptations that they use for survival in our wet, watery, aquatic habitats here in Southwest Ohio.